Students Explain Digital Accessibility, presented by Katie Duncan and Rhiannon Hall. Ali Bites 2021.
Hello everyone, my name is Katie Duncan and I'm really excited to be presenting to you all today about our project Students Explain Digital Accessibility. So I am the LX Lab Inclusive Practices Coordinator at the University of Technology, Sydney. I'm part of the LX Lab, or the Learner Experience Lab, and we're a team that helps support academics with all their learning and teaching needs, including learning design and learning technology support. And today I'm presenting with my colleague Rhiannon Hall.
Hi, I'm Rhiannon Hall. I'm a digital content officer at the LX Lab. I'd like to thank Ali Bites for having us here today as part of the conference. I'm really excited to share our project and also to hear from the many other practitioners who are taking part today. So my work at the LX Lab encompasses all digital content around supporting learning and teaching, including blog posts, newsletters, help resources, general communications, and other website activities. But accessibility is something in particular that I've developed a really strong interest in and that I've had the privilege of learning more about from colleagues and students who have disabilities. So I'll tell you a little bit about the project that we're talking about today. The Students Explain Digital Accessibility project is a series of videos which were created in collaboration with students who have a lived experience of disability. So our aims in this project were to create short and helpful videos that informed academics of easy ways to improve the accessibility of their learning and teaching content, and for the message to be delivered from the student perspective. This project involved many people, but it was Katie who had the initial idea for it, and she's going to tell you a little bit about how she came up with it.
So last year I ran a screen reader workshop using NVDA for my colleagues in the LX Lab. And basically the whole point of the workshop was to show how frustrating it can be trying to access content that's been badly formatted when you're using a screen reader. So on the screen at the moment, I'm showing a dog who's all tied up and is really sad and grumpy about it. And that's basically how I wanted to make my colleagues in the LX Lab feel. That I just wanted for them to experience firsthand the frustration when you can't access content because it's been formatted badly. Or inaccessibly, I should say. And so after I ran this workshop, one of my colleagues actually approached me, and he's well versed in the accessible content practices, but he said to me that he finally got it. He finally understood how important it was to follow these practices and the impact that it could have on students. And so that really got me thinking. So as the team that helps support academics across the university with their subject sites, I was thinking how we could do that in a show that first-hand experience, or that lived experience, to academics in a scalable and sustainable way. And so that's where the idea for the videos came in. And so along the way, we've worked with many people, including the wonderful Kim Neville, who works in the Information Technology Division. She helped shape the project. But of course, we also had our fantastic digital accessibility ambassadors. So on the screen at the moment, I'm just showing the 5 headshots of the wonderful ambassadors. We've got Ashley Detin, Elham, Jackson, and Bettina, and they did a wonderful job. So we're really lucky to appoint these people, and thank you to the UTS Centre for Social Justice and Inclusion for providing us with the funding so we could appoint them. Because it was really important for us to actually show that lived experience again from that student perspective. So we're just going to show you a snippet from one of the videos, Meet the Students. Here we go. So that was the Meet the Students video, but a lot of the other videos, what they actually talk about is the LX accessible content practices. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about those. They are, we developed them last year, and they're basically 9 easy to follow practices for academics to implement in their subject sites. They're designed for the biggest impact, so something that's achievable, that's going to have a real impact on the students using their subjects. and that they can be used in any program. So whether they're actually uploading the content to the learning management system or if they're uploading files, they're creating content that is accessible. So as well as the Meet the Students, which does cover just an introduction to the students and their main barriers, other topics that we cover include content structure, so making sure that academics are structuring their content clearly, using heading styles, that sort of thing. We also have a video that covers language and making sure that language is really clear and new discipline-specific language is being described so it's accessible for people. Adding meaningful alternative text to images in subject sites, as well as adding captions and transcripts to any media content. We've also got a video on links, so making sure that people are creating descriptive links when they're adding links to readings and whatnot in their subject sites, as well as using colour in an accessible and mindful way to make sure that we're not either making it overwhelming for students by using too much colour, or making sure that, you know, we're not relying on colour alone and that there's high enough contrast, that sort of thing. So we do have some resources on some more topics as well, and we also have some demonstrations of students using assistive technology as well that takes you through these practices as well. So that's the topics we covered. Now I'm going to pass you back to Rhiannon Hall to talk about the co-design process that we went through with the students.
Yeah, so we went with a co-design process in working with the students. You know, they feature in the videos, but it was also really important to us that they had a very active role in creating the content. We wanted to create a situation in which students felt comfortable talking about their experiences, confident to express themselves honestly. And so the approach we took was to work in co-design sessions, which involved all of the students, with us guiding them through the sessions. We started with the first session exploring our LX accessible practices, and the ambassadors used the practices as a platform to reflect on their own experiences of and opinions about digital accessibility. By the end of that session, we had a collation of all of their thoughts that they wanted to find a way to include in the videos. So in the next session, we began drafting the script together. Based on the discussions and the content that we produced from our first session, Katie and I created some questions or prompts for the ambassadors, and each member of the group wrote their own responses. And we continued to workshop these scripts together after the session to make sure that everybody was really comfortable with what they were saying and that they were expressing themselves in the clearest way possible to get their message across. And so that the students were able to draw on their lived experience was a really important factor, not only in ensuring that the advice in the videos was accurate and relevant, but also in encouraging an open dialogue between academics and students about accessibility. We had a shared goal of normalizing the act of talking about accessibility requirements openly. So, and the presence of the students, their unique knowledge and expertise, and their focus on the real-world barriers that inaccessible content creates were all essential for generating a meaningful discourse about accessibility. And we were actually able to create further resources after we completed the videos with the students, as each member of the group wrote a blog post about an accessibility topic of their choosing, which resulted in a blog post series, which we released as a companion to the videos, and we'll make sure that we include a link to that for anybody who's interested in reading the posts. So next I'm just going to talk a little bit about the video production process and why we chose video in particular for this project. So we chose video because they're simple for people to access. Our videos are available on YouTube. They're available to the public. They're easy and short for people to watch. They don't take up too much time, and they directly capture the engaging presentations from the students. As a small team, we are cognizant of how much of a time commitment this can be. So for anybody else who might be interested in creating video content or is new to creating video content, here's a rough idea of how much time it took us to make these videos. So all up, we totaled about 10 hours of footage. We created 13 videos in total. We had 10 video and audio shoots, and that's including the demonstration videos that we created. And this all culminated in over 35 hours all up of editing the footage. And so for the filming and editing, we actually worked with our colleague Matt Bella, who's an educational media producer at the LX Lab, and just want to give a quick shout out to him for the excellent work that he did on this project. So now the videos are released now, and we've gotten some really great feedback so far. So Katie's going to just talk a little bit about what kind of response we've been getting from the videos.
Yeah, so we've actually had some really fantastic feedback from our colleagues across UTS on the videos. I've got on the screen a quote from a fellow learning designer who says, "So refreshing to hear a student voice in this important conversation." We've also had some feedback just on how that they felt it was really lovely that there was quite a diverse range of students and experiences and voices being featured in the videos. As well as some people actually committing to taking on some of these practices. So we had one colleague kind of saying that they're going to carve out some time to make sure that all the captions for their subject are accurate. So it's been really fantastic to see that we're kind of chipping away and making sure that people are more aware of these issues and also kind of committing to taking up some of these practices as well. So we're really excited about that. So that takes us to the end of our presentation today. I hope you have enjoyed it. So thank you very much for watching. If you would like to see more of the videos, they are available on our website, which is at lx.uts.edu.au/accessibility. Thank you very much.
Ali Bites 2021.